This woman practiced rock climbing every single week. Unexpectedly, her goal wasn't fitness, but to perfect a murder plot. She would deliberately choose the most dangerous routes, because only by doing this could she get ahead of her husband on the summit, and perfectly execute her plan to kill him. Finally, the day came. She had been waiting for the perfect opportunity. Just as her husband was about to reach the top, she pushed him off the cliff without a second thought. After the husband fell to his death, the police quickly arrived at the scene. Because the incident occurred in a remote suburban area, there were no witnesses or surveillance cameras around. The police could only confirm the time of death was Monday through a watch left at the scene. They had no other clues. But when notifying the family, the detective in charge, A-Jun, grew suspicious of the victim's wife. The deceased was a man in his 60s, while his wife, Xiao Lai, was a beautiful young woman. During the interrogation, not only did Xiao Lai show no sadness, she even flashed a strange smile from time to time. She said bluntly that her husband deserved to die, and even if this accident hadn't happened, he would have faced karma sooner or later. As she spoke, she even lifted her skirt, revealing the bruises from domestic violence all over her body. Although A-Jun felt sympathy for her, his gut told him that Xiao Lai was very likely the real killer, but struggling with a lack of evidence. A-Jun had no choice but to let her go for the time being. However, in the follow-up investigation, A-Jun discovered that Xiao Lai had a perfect alibi. She worked for a housekeeping company, and every Monday, she was scheduled to care for an elderly man living alone. According to the old man, on the day of the incident, Xiao Lai was at his house the entire day. The housekeeping company also provided the corresponding work records. This made the case even more confusing. If Xiao Lai was indeed at work, how did she manage to kill her husband from a distance? Just then, a forensic report showed the victim had Xiao Lai's DNA under his fingernails, proving she was connected to the murder. A-Jun decided to bring Xiao Lai in for questioning again. Faced with the new evidence, Xiao Lai remained calm and composed. Looking at her pitiful and helpless appearance, A-Jun's attitude unconsciously softened. He found himself falling in love with this poor woman. It turns out, Xiao Lai's suffering was truly heartbreaking. Her husband was extremely controlling and would even force her to go rock climbing with him. As an illegal immigrant, Xiao Lai could only endure in silence. Hearing her story, A-Jun's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He started to neglect his duties, his mind completely preoccupied with her. One night, he made a decision. He would close the case, because as long as Xiao Lai was a suspect, he couldn't pursue her openly. After the case was closed, the two began living together. But what A-Jun didn't know was that this warmth was all a meticulously designed trap. It turns out, Xiao Lai had exploited her elderly client's dementia. She finished her work a day early and swapped the old man's phone to create a perfect alibi. However, justice has a long arm. While organizing the files, A-Jun discovered the truth. The fitness app on the old man's phone recorded climbing data on the day of the murder, a height that matched the mountain where the victim died. The truth was finally revealed. Xiao Lai was not only the murderer, but she had also deliberately gotten close to him to clear her name. But at this point, A-Jun was already deeply in love. Torn between professional ethics and personal feelings, he ultimately chose to let Xiao Lai destroy the evidence, allowing the case to remain a mystery forever. So the question is, would you sacrifice everything for someone you love, even if they were a killer?